Hi everyone, welcome to Yoga Serene. I'm Dawn. Today we're going to go through a sequence for our hips and hamstrings. So let's begin in a child's pose. So you can take a few moments to come onto your hands and knees. If you happen to have a couple of blocks in your house, you could have your blocks framing your mat. If you don't have any props, you'll be perfectly fine without them. So take time to come onto all fours. You're going to create some space between your knees. Allow your toes to draw together at the back of your mat. And we can take the arms gently forward. You're going to let your sit bones draw back towards your heels, but if they don't touch, that's no problem. Just let gravity do some work there. And as your head drops down, your chin will tuck under. When you're in this posture, if you start to feel any sort of pulling sensation across the front of your knees, then please bring your knees in a bit closer. And we'll use this pose as a way to just start to settle into the breath and come into our bodies. So let's start by taking a couple of mindful breaths together. So when you feel ready, just invite a full inhale through your nose. And then offer yourself a bit of a sigh as you let it go. Okay, and then if you'd like to take another one, breathe in and breathe out. Okay, and as you hold your posture, take the next few moments here to begin to ground yourself here for your practice. So maybe taking some time to gently clear your mind of any thoughts, or maybe just noticing if there's anything that has followed you into this space. And over time, can you invite those thoughts to begin to drift away? And then just bring your attention into the breath. So when you breathe in, start to notice the feeling of the breath. Feel the breath move into your belly, and then maybe imagine the breath moves out into your hips here, your low back, and slowly up your spine. We're just making that connection to the feeling of expansion as you breathe in. And then as you exhale, invite your exhales to leave really slowly. And we associate an experience of letting go as we exhale. So maybe starting to soften a bit into your body here as you settle in. Or if there's any thoughts still floating around in your mind, every exhale breath, can you invite those thoughts to drift away? And let's just land here for a few more cycles of breath. If you would like to take a moment to set an intention for your practice, you could go ahead and do that now. Right, so from your child's pose, you can lift your head off your mat, hands can walk in a bit. So we'll start to set ourselves up onto hands and knees. And this is going to eventually bring us into a downward dog, but know if you have any wrist concerns, you can always enter this sequence from hands and knees. Otherwise, you'll curl your toes under and start to bring your hips up and back. You're going to find your feet about hip distance. Hands are about shoulder distance or slightly wider. As you spread into your fingers, you're pressing down through the pads of the hands, and you can start to pedal at your heels, bending one knee at a time. Your head will drop as you start to look behind yourself. Continue to press into your hands, spreading your fingers, grounding a bit more between your thumb and index finger. Let's just land for about 3 more breaths. You can keep your knees bent a little or a lot. We're just easing our way into the hamstrings. Heels just drop until you feel resistance along the back of the legs. Okay, from here, we're going to take a breath in and raise the right leg up. As you exhale, bring your right foot forward between your hands. The knee will stack above your ankle. Then we're going to slowly drop down onto our back knee. Once you arrive here, you're going to heel toe your right foot about the width of your mat and point your right toes to the right. The knee will be pointing in the same direction, and your right thigh externally rotates here. Hands are to the inside of the right foot. You can drop down onto the top of your left foot here and try to feel like your left hip drops and draws forward. And we're going to be feeling this moving into the front line of that left hip, the inside of the right hip and leg. And you can hold steady here on your fingertips, or if you need to bring yourself up a little bit higher, you could rest your hands onto a block or a pillow. Keep your heart lifted and let your left hip drop any amount until you feel sensation. Then we'll hold here for a few more cycles of breath. And starting to tune into where you feel sensation in your body, and when you breathe in, can you imagine your breath moves there? So it's like your inhales create space in your body, and when you exhale, can you soften into that space? Right, from here, we're going to add on a bit of a twist. So you're going to take your left hand about the width of your mat, use a block if you need, and then we'll take the right hand to the inside of the thigh. You can start here to pointing your chest a little bit more towards the right. If you like, you can raise that right arm up and maybe look up. Continue to let your left hip drop and draw forward, and send a lot of breath down into those hips, wherever you feel sensation. And as soon as you drop back into your body, you come back into that breath. Long inhales and exhales. Take about 3 more here. Okay, your breath in, exhale brings the right hand in. You're going to kind of push your hips back, and then we're going to heel toe the right foot in. Back toes can curl under for half splits coming into that right hamstring. Hands on blocks or the earth. Breathe in. As you exhale, we'll rock it back till the right leg starts to straighten. Then you can walk your hands and blocks back, shoulders stack more above your wrists. Feel free to walk your right foot a little bit more forward, to draw your toes a bit towards your nose if you need a little more in that hamstring. We're going to lift the chest to broaden the collarbones on the inhale, and then take it into your fold as you exhale. We want to reach the top of the head forward, keeping the neck nice and long as opposed to letting your head hang. The more length you create in the spine, you're going to feel more length in the hamstring. And if you notice your shoulders coming up around your ears, just soften a bit at the elbows, point your elbows a bit more towards the back of the room, and that'll draw your shoulders down your back. Okay, and then we'll hold here, and as you feel your body, notice your breathing again. So we breathe from the belly, feel that expansion, and maybe imagine the breath travels into the back of that right leg, wherever you feel sensation here. And then take some slow, mindful exhales to soften into your body. And if you notice the mind pulling at you with a thought or feeling a bit distracted for a moment, just pause that thought once you feel it or see it or hear it, and then invite it to float away with your exhale breath. And then your inhale will bring you back into your body, and that brings you back into the breath and right back here. We're going to lift the gaze on the inhale. Exhale, slide your right foot in, let it touch down. Then we're going to take the hands onto the earth, come off your back knee. And the option can be go back to down dog. We'll take the right leg up and back as you inhale. As you exhale, bend your knee, hip rolls open for fire hydrant pose. And then we can land back in downward dog. Take a moment to pedal out your heels. And you can even land for a deep knee bend in that crouching dog position. And then just slowly let your heels drop. Okay, so we'll move through the left side. Let's inhale, left leg up high. As you exhale, left foot comes forward between your hands. The knee stacks above your ankle, and then we'll come down onto the right knee. You can come onto the top of your right foot, toenail side of the foot, and then heel toe your left foot nice and wide, and point your left toes to the left. Your foot's maybe the width of your mat. And your left thigh externally rotates. The knee and toe are pointing in the same direction. You can rest onto your fingertips, or again, you could grab a prop to rest onto. So the heart is lifting, and then at the same time, we're letting the right hip drop and draw forward until you feel some resistance along the front line of that right hip. And then as you're here, catch your breath. Take some slow inhales and exhales. Maybe even enjoy closing your eyes so you can drop into your own space. Feel your body, hear your breath. And every exhale, we're softening into the body. Continue to breathe in and breathe out. Take a few more breaths here. All right, so over time we'll set up that twist. So your right hand's going to come about the width of your mat. Press down into that hand, and we'll take the left hand to the inside of the thigh. And you might notice your right hip lifted up, so we're just going to let it drop again. And we can keep the left hand where it is, or the inhale can reach your left arm up. Feel your shoulders softening down your back. You could look up with the eyes or to the left, and let's hold here and breathe. And again, we're sending the breath down into those hips wherever you feel sensation, taking some long exhales to soften there. Okay, your breath in, your exhale brings the left hand down again. Okay, and then we'll curl the back toes under. Notice your hips starting to move up and back. Then we'll heel toe that left foot back in. For your half splits here, your back toes could curl under if you like. Breathe in, exhale, rock it back till your left leg starts to straighten. And we can walk the hands or blocks back. Lift your heart to broaden your collarbones as you inhale, and then taking your fold as you exhale. Okay, here you might notice your right hip pushes to the side, so we want to draw it in and continue to draw the left hip back to lengthen the hamstring. Okay, and then we'll hold here for a few more of our breaths. Can you feel like that breath is moving all along the back of that left leg? And again, keep your spine long, so as opposed to rounding and the head dropping, reach the top of your head forward. The neck is long, spine is long. And then simply drop into your breath. We got a few more here. We can lift the gaze on the inhale. As you exhale, slide that left foot in, let it touch down. Then we'll plant the hands. If you're going back to down dog, you can take yourself off your back knee and inhale the left leg up and back. Fire hydrant pose. As you exhale, you can bend your knee and let your hip roll open. Right heel drops, root into your hands. And then we'll return to downward dog, and feel free to pedal that out. Just let that settle into your body. Or taking a nice deep knee bend, releasing those hamstrings. Okay, and then we'll pause here in downward dog for a few breaths. Maybe collect a nice long inhale to fill up, and enjoy a longer exhale to let it go. Okay, we're going to come into a pigeon pose from here, so let's take the right leg up on the inhale. As you exhale, your right knee is going to move towards your right wrist or thereabouts, and your right foot will move towards the left side of your mat. And we can stay upright here, slowly starting to walk your left foot back. You can come onto the top of your left foot here. If your right hip is quite elevated, you could put a blanket or a pillow underneath that hip. And then we're going to take a fold from here. So we're going to breathe in, and as you exhale, you can slowly bring yourself forward. As you arrive, you can rest onto your forearms, maybe hands into a prayer-like position, top of the head reaches forward. As that right hip draws back, the left hip feels like it's drawing slightly forward and down. And if you're in this position and you're feeling any pulling across the front of your right knee, then you want to back out a little bit. Or another option for you could be a deer pose. So I'll show that for those of you who need a different variation. You would rock over to the right side and slide your left knee up. Your right shin would be parallel to the top of your mat, and you'd be resting onto the inside of the left knee and ankle. Left hip is lifted. From here, the breath in, and then your exhale folds you forward. So this would be deer pose. If this is going to serve your body a little bit better, you're going to fold more across the right leg. Otherwise, you're holding in your pigeon pose. Make sure you're in a position that serves you here. And again, we want to avoid any pulling across the right knee. Okay, and let's drop in for a little bit longer. As we settle back into the breath, feel the sensation of your inhale expanding your belly. And then maybe imagine that breath moves into that right hip wherever you feel sensation. And when you exhale, can you soften there? And maybe that softening can even be in the mind. If thoughts are coming up, can you pause those thoughts and invite them to drift away with your exhale breath? So we're very mindful right here, breathing into the body, softening into the body as you exhale. And if over time it feels okay to let your head drop into your mat, or maybe stacking your fist, your head rests there. And we'll linger here a little bit longer. All right, when you're ready, the inhale breath will walk you up slowly. Pause for your exhale breath. If you're in that deer pose, you're going to walk your right heel in and swing your left leg back. So we can return to a down dog. You want to ground onto your hands eventually. Back toes curl under, and we can slowly bring ourselves up and back. Maybe grab a three-legged dog, so really stretch it out on the inhale. And then as you exhale, you could bend your knee and let your hip roll open for that fire hydrant pose. And then we'll return to downward dog again. And again, if you want to pedal at your heels, take a moment there, bend one knee at a time. And you can even land for that nice deep knee bend, crouching dog, and then just let your heels drop. And let's pause here, collect a full breath in, and enjoy a delicious exhale out. So your left side, when you're ready, let's inhale left leg up. As you exhale, draw your left knee towards your left wrist or thereabouts. Okay, and then choosing the variation you did on the other side. So if you are going to stay in this pigeon shape, you'll start to walk your right foot back. Your left hip might drop and draw down, and your right hip drops and draws forward. Okay, and if you are going into that deer shape, you would rock over onto your left side, slide your right knee up. If you're in deer like I'm showing in this moment, you would fold across the knee. Okay, so when you're ready, take a breath in, and as you exhale, you can come forward. And again, if you're in that pigeon shape, you're probably folding a little more straight forward. And maybe there's something underneath your left hip if it's elevated. And again, as we're starting to feel the body here, if you notice again pulling at your left knee, then you want to back out a little bit or change your variation. You don't want to stay with that sensation for long. And then we'll drop in again, slow, mindful breaths. As you tune into your body, notice where sensation lies without any sort of judgment, just simply observing it. And then as you return to your breath, every inhale, you feel that sense of expansion. And when you exhale, can you soften into your body, visualizing your inhales moving to where you feel sensation. Exhale, soften. And if the mind happens to wander when we're in posture for time, the mind might wander off. So just become aware of that. Pause the thought, return to your inhale, feel the sensation of your breath. And that'll bring you also back into the body as you feel the inhale moving into your body. And then exhale, continue to soften into your body as that thought floats away with that breath. Okay, and over time, if you want to let your head drop down, you could let your head drop. Take a few more slow, steady breaths. When you feel ready, the inhale will walk you up. As you pause for your exhale, take a moment there. Extending your right leg back if you were in deer pose. Left heel might come in a bit, and then you can ground onto your hands. As you curl your back toes under right toes, we'll take that left leg up and back on the inhale for your three-legged dog. As you exhale, you can bend your knee, releasing your hip in fire hydrant pose. And then you can return back to downward dog. Offer a moment to pedal out your heels, bending one knee at a time. Maybe give your head a little sway side to side, whatever feels good. And as you pause here in your dog, take a moment to breathe in fully and allow a longer exhale out. Okay, take a few more breaths here in downward facing. Okay, from here, breathe in as you exhale. We'll drop down onto the knees. You can swing your feet off to the side and we'll have a seat. So as we come into a seated posture here, we'll take a forward bend, bringing the legs out front. Take a moment to just remove that flesh that hangs on your sit bones by reaching back for it. A little flex in your foot and micro bend your knees. If you want to assist with that bend, then slide a block underneath the knees or a blanket or pillows. Okay, and then when you're ready, let's take arms up on the inhale. As you exhale, hinge out of your hips and fold. As your body pauses, let your hands land wherever they may, whether it's outside the knees, the shins, or the feet. Give yourself a lift of the heart on the inhale, further lengthening your spine. Exhale, fold in. As your body pauses, feel free to round out your spine and let your head drop down. And then as your head drops, maybe take a moment to roll your head a little side to side. Just give your neck a little bit of intention and then just hang here. If you're going without a block, you could always just drape over the legs. Make sure you haven't locked out your knees though, and your hands can always rest beside the legs as well. And then start to tune into the back of the body. Notice how you breathe from your belly still, and then invite that breath maybe to move into your low back, and all the way down the back of your legs, and then slowly up your spine. Then as you take these longer exhales, can you soften all the muscles along your spine, softening into your low back, and all the way down the back of your legs. And let's just land here for a few more breaths, starting to seal in our practice. Longer exhales like sweet sighs into your body. Okay, arms fall a bit heavier, and let's just go for a slow roll of the spine all the way up, breathing in. Maybe roll your shoulders up and back. Nice big exhale there. Okay, shaking that off if you need. Okay, and then we're going to take a moment to find a seat. So you can turn to bring yourself onto your block again, or just sitting onto your mat. Simple cross-legged, you can bring one heel in at a time. And we'll just finish off here for a few moments, letting your hands rest onto your lap. We're going to take a gentle twist from here. So let's take the left hand across the near thigh, breathe in, exhale, right fingertips behind you. Sitting up nice and tall, but softening your shoulders down your back. As you breathe in, feel your belly expand, and can you offer that breath to travel all the way up your spine? And when you exhale, feel it travel all the way back down. And maybe imagine you could soften all the way back down with those exhales, softening down into your hips and legs. And can we keep the expression on the face nice and soft? The eyes behind the lids are soft. And just simply breathe in and breathe out. When we twist, we're feeling movement primarily from the base of the ribs and a bit at the navel line. Make sure your hips are still squaring forward. Both sit bones equally grounded. Take a few more here. Good. We'll breathe in, exhale, gently turn forward. And then we'll switch sides. So right hand comes across, inhale, exhale, left fingertips tent behind you. Shoulders soften down your back. Chest is lifted, hips are relaxed, and you're grounding into both sit bones equally. You can gently look to the side wall, keep your chin in a neutral position so you're not lifting it up or tucking it in. And let's breathe here. Eyes can close again, drop in. Every exhale, soften all the way down into your hips and legs. Okay, let's breathe in, exhale, turn forward. Very nice. From here, you can take a few moments to sit with your eyes closed. And taking a moment here to let your practice settle into your body. If you would like to take a Shavasana at this point, you could lie down for a few moments in your Shavasana posture, or you could simply sit for a little bit longer. And wherever you're at, take a nice long inhale to fill up completely, and enjoy a bit of a sigh for yourself. Good, and I'll leave you here so you can continue to rest in your Shavasana or in a meditation. Or if you wish to close out your practice, you could bring your hands to your heart center for Anjali Mudra and let your chin gently drop in towards your chest. Take a moment here to acknowledge your practice today and perhaps a moment to reconnect with your intention. And I hope you feel wonderful and have a beautiful day. Thank you so much for spending some time on your mat with me today. Once again, I'm Dawn, and this is Yoga Serene. Namaste.